The afternoon sun streamed through the display windows of Sweet Dreams Bakery like golden honey, illuminating rows of pastries and cakes that seemed almost too beautiful to eat. Inside, Thomas Rivera, 33 years old, stood with his 7-year-old daughter Emma, staring at the stunning birthday cake they had come to collect. His worn denim jacket and tired eyes told the story of a man who worked multiple jobs to survive since his wife had passed away 2 years ago. Emma pressed her face against the glass display case, her light brown hair falling in soft waves as she admired the creation that had been made especially for her 8th birthday. The cake was everything she had dreamed of. 3 layers with pink and purple icing, delicate sugar flowers, and "Happy Birthday, Emma" written in elegant script on top. "It's perfect, Daddy," Emma whispered, her voice filled with wonder. Thomas felt his heart break as he opened his wallet and counted the bills inside. $32. The cake cost $75. Behind the counter, the young bakery assistant waited patiently, but Thomas could see the sympathy in her eyes as she watched him struggle with the mathematics of his situation. "I'm so sorry," Thomas said quietly, his voice thick with shame. "I thought I had saved enough, but my car needed an emergency repair this week, and I had to choose between that and—" He trailed off, unable to finish the sentence in front of Emma. Emma looked up at her father with understanding far beyond her years. "It's okay, Daddy. We don't need a fancy cake. You said we could make cookies at home instead." Thomas knelt down to Emma's level, fighting back tears. "I know, sweetheart, but I wanted to give you something special for your birthday. You deserve so much more than I can provide right now." "You give me everything I need," Emma said seriously, placing her small hand on his cheek. "You work so hard, and you read me stories every night, and you make the best pancakes in the whole world." Across the bakery, Catherine Morrison, 35 years old, was watching this interaction unfold. As CEO of Morrison Development Group, a real estate development company she had built from the ground up, Catherine was no stranger to difficult decisions and emotional moments. But something about this father's obvious love for his daughter and the quiet dignity with which they were handling their disappointment struck her deeply. Before we continue with this powerful story of unexpected kindness and life-changing generosity, if you believe in the power of compassion and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel for more heartwarming stories that remind us of our shared humanity. Now, let's see what happened next. Catherine approached the counter, her elegant cream-colored coat and professional demeanor marking her as someone accustomed to solving problems efficiently. "Excuse me," she said gently to the bakery assistant. "I'd like to purchase that cake for this young lady." Thomas looked up, surprised, immediately shaking his head. "Ma'am, that's incredibly kind, but I can't accept charity. I'll figure out another way to make Emma's birthday special." "This isn't charity," Catherine said with a warm smile, looking down at Emma. "Today is obviously a very important day, and every girl deserves to have her birthday cake dreams come true." She turned to the bakery assistant. "Please add this to my order, and include a dozen of those beautiful cupcakes as well." Emma's eyes widened in amazement, but she looked to her father for permission before responding. "Daddy, is it okay?" she asked softly. Thomas struggled with his pride for a moment, then looked into Catherine's kind eyes and saw genuine care, not pity. "What do you say to the nice lady, Emma?" "Thank you so much," Emma said, her voice almost a whisper. "This is the most beautiful cake I've ever seen." "What's your name, sweetheart?" Catherine asked, crouching down to Emma's level. "Emma Grace Rivera. I'm turning 8 today, and Daddy says 8 is when you start having the best adventures." "Your daddy is absolutely right," Catherine replied. 8 is a magical age. What kind of adventures are you planning?" As Emma chatted excitedly about her hopes for the coming year, Catherine found herself drawn into conversation with Thomas. She learned that he worked as a maintenance supervisor in an office building during the day and cleaned offices 3 nights a week to make ends meet. His wife had died of cancer, leaving him to raise Emma alone while managing the medical bills that insurance hadn't covered. "I keep telling myself it's temporary," Thomas said quietly, while Emma was distracted with the cake decorating process she was watching through the kitchen window. "That eventually I'll get ahead of the bills and be able to give her the kind of childhood she deserves." "It sounds like you're already giving her exactly what she needs," Catherine responded. "Love, attention, and the security of knowing she's the most important thing in your life." "Some days it doesn't feel like enough," Thomas admitted. Catherine studied this man who was clearly exhausted but hadn't given up, who was struggling financially, but had managed to raise a daughter who was polite, grateful, and obviously adored him. "Thomas, may I ask what you did before your wife became ill?" "I was a project manager for a construction company," Thomas answered. "I had to leave that position because it required too much travel, and Emma needed stability at home." Catherine felt something click in her mind. Project management for construction. That was exactly the kind of experience she'd been searching for. She pulled out her business card and handed it to Thomas. "Morrison Development Group is always looking for experienced project managers. We develop residential and commercial properties, and we need someone who understands both the technical and human sides of construction." Thomas stared at the card. "Mrs. Morrison, I appreciate the gesture, but I can't accept a job offer out of pity." "This isn't pity," Catherine said firmly. "This is business. I've been trying to fill this position for 3 months, and everyone I've interviewed has either been overqualified and looking for a stepping stone, or underqualified and in over their heads." She glanced at Emma, who was now helping the baker put the finishing touches on her cake. "What I need is someone who understands responsibility, who knows how to manage complex projects while keeping the human element in mind, and who won't job hop the minute something better comes along." "You can tell all that from a 10-minute conversation?" Thomas asked, skeptical. "I can tell that by watching how you handle disappointment with grace, how you've raised a polite and thoughtful daughter despite difficult circumstances, and how you put her needs before your pride," Catherine replied. "Those aren't skills you learn in business school." As they prepared to leave the bakery, Emma carefully carried her cake box, while Thomas held the cupcakes, still somewhat overwhelmed by the kindness they'd received. "Ma'am," Emma said as they reached the door, "would you like to come to my birthday party? It's going to be just me and Daddy and maybe Mrs. Rodriguez from downstairs, but we're going to play games, and Daddy promised to make his special tacos." Catherine felt her heart melt at this invitation from a child who had just received an unexpected gift and wanted to share her celebration. "I would be honored to attend your party, Emma. What time should I be there?" 6 months later, Catherine stood in the kitchen of the house that Thomas and Emma now rented in a safe neighborhood with good schools, watching as Emma helped Thomas prepare dinner for their regular Sunday family meal. The chosen family had evolved naturally over the months, as Catherine became not just Thomas's employer, but an integral part of their lives. Thomas had excelled in his new position, bringing both technical experience and emotional intelligence to projects that had previously been managed exclusively by spreadsheets and timelines. His understanding of what it meant to build not just structures, but communities had made him invaluable to Catherine's company. More than that, Catherine had discovered something she hadn't known she was missing: the joy of being part of a real family, built not on obligation or convenience, but on mutual care and genuine affection. "Catherine, look what I learned at school," Emma called out, proudly demonstrating a new mathematics concept she had mastered. "That's incredible, Emma," Catherine responded, genuinely impressed. "You're going to be running your own company before you know it." Maybe I can work with you and Daddy, Emma said thoughtfully. We could build houses for families who need them. Catherine glanced at Thomas, who was smiling at his daughter's dreams with the pride of a father who had learned that sometimes the best gifts come disguised as challenges. The birthday cake that had seemed impossible to afford had become the catalyst for changes none of them could have imagined. Emma's 8th birthday had indeed marked the beginning of her best adventures, though not in any way they had expected. Catherine had learned that success wasn't just about building profitable developments, but about recognizing when you have the power to build someone's dreams. Thomas had discovered that accepting help wasn't a sign of weakness, but an opportunity to create something better for the people you love. And Emma, now 9 years old and confident in her place in their chosen family, had learned that birthdays aren't just about cake and presents, but about the moments when strangers choose to become part of your story. The bakery where they had met became their tradition for every special occasion, not because the cakes were extraordinary, but because it reminded them of the day when kindness had transformed what seemed like failure into the foundation for something beautiful. Sometimes the most important investments we make aren't financial, but emotional. Sometimes the greatest returns don't come from calculating profit margins, but from calculating the immeasurable value of helping another person's dreams survive another day. And sometimes a little girl's birthday cake becomes the recipe for a family that was always meant to be, even when none of them knew they were searching for each other. If this story reminded you that the simplest acts of generosity can change the trajectory of multiple lives, please like and share this with someone who might need encouragement about the power of kindness. Subscribe for more stories about unexpected families and the beautiful ways that helping others often helps us find exactly what we didn't know we were missing. Please comment below about a time when someone's generosity turned a difficult moment into something beautiful, or when helping others led to meaningful connections in your own life. Your story might inspire someone else to reach out with kindness. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the smallest gesture creates the biggest impact.